The reason why I was laughing is because I had it playing in the background and it's while they're combining. So he throws a card and it starts glowing and it lands on the chest of Shrimp Daddy. And as it does, he's like, Shrimp Daddy! Ha 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 ha!
It's a testament to the show that a
Shrimp
character can
Daddy!
just
Ha ha
scream
ha
out
ha!
Shrimp Daddy and laugh, and it's that humorous.
Greetings, friendos. Welcome back to the LaserComb Podcast, the podcast where we comb through random episodes of classic TV shows with a fine-tooth laser. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm NeoCal.
This is episode 13 of the LaserComb Podcast, and this week, this is a Patreon-sponsored show. So special shout-out to a new Patreon subscriber of ours, Jared. Longtime listener. He's been following our shows for quite a while now. Been seeing him on pop up on the Facebook page and whatnot. So yeah, shout out to you, Jared. Jared is a $10 patron, and if you're unaware, if you want to pick a show for us to review a random episode of on this podcast, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/lasercomb. And at the $10 and up tier, you get to do just that. It doesn't matter what the show is. It can be anything you want. The only rules are, 1, the show has to be over. 2, it has to be narrative based. So no game shows, no pro wrestling, no reality shows.
No, The Bachelor?
No The Bachelor. No The Real World. No Price is Right. No Jeopardy. No Wheel of Fortune. No Family Feud. None of that shit. Those are the only rules. So the show that Jared wanted us to review is a anime from that ran from 2001 to 2002 called Fightin' Foodons. If you're watching the video show, both me and Cal have Fightin' Foodons artwork as our background. So yay!
I spent like half an hour in MS Paint blackening out the backgrounds just to make this, and you went and just Googled and found a better backdrop in 10 seconds.
I was gonna say, I'm glad you pointed out that you spent so long editing that image, because I would have never known.
Nobody would.
Hey, that was a little bit of a jab there.
I like to make mine unique. I like to put characters and logos. Maybe I should upgrade from MS Paint to Photoshop one of these days.
Yeah, be like me and pirate Photoshop 2020.
You mean legally purchase Photoshop?
Yes, that is exactly what I mean. Yeah, as I said, Jared picked the Fightin' Foodons, and we put it through the random number generator, just as we always do. And what we ended up with was episode 25, which is called Final Battle Dawn Cook / Chase in Space. Originally aired on June 18th, 2002. So here we are. What is this show about, Cal? Can you give the listeners a little bit of a 411 on Fightin' Foodons?
So Fighting Foodons is about food that has magically been turned into fighting monsters by magical cards.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are good and some of them are bad, and people use them for good and people use them for bad.
Yep.
And as a result, we have an anime aimed at a younger audience, and it's
based
really
on
funny.
A manga. It's based on a
really
manga,
funny.
Correct?
It's based on a manga, and it's actually very funny.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at how many times I laughed watching
Listen
this
to
show.
the intro, and that sells the show knows exactly what it is. Which I appreciate.
You mean this intro?
Here's something incredible. These monsters once were edible, so everybody take a look at combat creatures you can cook. Fighting Foodons, tornado in between. Fighting Foodons, this is really neat routine. Pick the right ingredients, to make the food obedient.
Depending on the spice you add, your Foodon could be really bad.
Bad. Fighting Foodons, sugar, fruit, or even shoot. Fighting Foodons is fruit with attitude. Carefully select your recipes.
Pizza will attack with gooey cheese.
Power up the fried rice with some peas. What will win, Italian or Chinese? If anything's left over, you can freeze. So if you're itching for a brawl, just start a kitchen free-for-all. And when your monster takes a fall, whip up a little matzo ball. Fighting Foodons, pseudo fruit or even shoot. Fighting Foodons is fruit with attitude.
Yeah, that intro.
Yeah, that intro. Fighting Foodons, da 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 da.
Fighting Foodons. Yeah, it shockingly catchy, even though it's just.
Normally, I do a little bit of research as to like what a show is all about before I dive into a random episode of it. But this time, I went in completely cold, and what an experience that was. I
I think
know.
that's a better experience. Me too. I didn't look up anything, and I was encouraged to look up more about this after I had watched it than any other show we watched.
Wow.
I was like, I need to know who did this, what else he did.
Even Dark Oracle, hey?
Oh yeah.
Another Patreon show that we did. It was actually the first episode of this podcast.
And I had found out that the guy that made it did a lot of comic book, some Transformers stuff for IDW. He's got some work.
Yeah,
And
he's I'm noticing since we've been, doing this and doing Too Much Energon, our Beast Wars podcast, Alphanumeric, our reboot podcast, and yada yada. I'm starting to notice a lot of cross pollination between talent amongst like artists, writers, producers, showrunners, voice actors. Like there's a lot of crossover that I had no idea about, and it's been kind of an interesting journey to discover.
Yes, it's
like one of the
there's a lot of crossover.
Like Bob Forward, one of the creators of Beast Wars, was one of the like lead writers on Biker Mice from Mars, which we covered on last week's episode of the podcast. Like, how crazy is that?
Random. Yeah.
Random. So let's not dilly-dally too much.
No, one thing I'll point out right away is you can see that early 2000s animation, like Digimon, Pokemon inspired. It's like food Pokemon, but like it's Yu-Gi-Oh and like Digimon inspired.
Fried Ricer.
Like. I love Fried Ricer.
I love Fried Ricer.
I don't know why, but just
like also the names of some of the like foodons, like
Shrimp Daddy.
Fuck me, like
Shrimp Daddy.
Spaghetti about it.
Spaghetti about it. I can't believe there's one named Shrimp Daddy. And I was actually laughing watching this. I was like, holy shit, there's one named Shrimp Daddy.
Speaking of daddies, I'll talk more about this at the while we're actually covering the episode and in our summary at the end. But Chef Jack, holy shit, what a treat that character is.
Right?
Yeah, just a lovable, like enthusiastic doofus, and I'm here for it.
It's a lot happens in this. And what an episode to go into. I actually watched the last episode, the episode after this, because I had to.
Oh yeah, I did not. So I will be. I'm in the dark as to what happens in their fight against what is it, King Gorge?
The drag queen ghost from space.
I'm pretty sure his name is King Gorge.
Pretty sure his name is drag queen ghost from space, but we'll have to see.
Drag queen ghost from space sounds like the name of a great like faux exploitation film. It's like you remember that like 10 years ago, that wave of people like intentionally making B movies. Most of them were pretty cringeworthy, like Manborg and like Wolf Cop and shit. I really
Right.
liked Kung Fury was part of that. I really liked Kung Fury. I think that's probably one of the only good ones. There was a sequel to Samurai Cop that was in that vein called Samurai Cop 2: Deadly Vengeance,
Right,
which I
right.
actually own on Blu-ray. It's not very good.
There was a
But
web comic called Axe Cop that everybody really loved.
yeah. But yeah, so Drag Queen Ghosts from Outer Space sounds like it could be like one of those kind of movies.
Fuck it, I'm copywriting that.
Yeah. We need to
That's great.
we need to like step up Lasercomb Productions and actually get to like making our own like fake B movies.
And that would be it.
That
Would it
would
be
be
funny if we reviewed fake movies that we made? Drag Queen Ghosts from Outer Space.
or we put like we insert like little like fake movie trailers as adverts into the podcast
And just cut from different things like this.
yeah
Yeah. That'd be pretty great.
be great.
So,
So yeah,
we
let's
start
not,
with Drag Queen
yeah,
Ghost from Outer
let's get
Space.
into it.
And he's shit talking the main character named Chase.
Yeah.
And he's saying he's not afraid of him. It's big battle time. And we see the supporting cast behind him. There's a girl with huge pink braids with a wok as a hat.
Right.
Old man flying on a saucer. And like a big ripped dude with blonde hair, who we find out is his dad.
Yeah, Chef Jack. So what's happening in this scene anyway?
He's confronting the big bad.
Yeah.
And immediately,
Yeah, the
Chase's
big bad the drag queen Ghost from Outer Space.
And he's all like, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't even try. The dad, that is. You're no match for him. And immediately, like, it's
Okay,
comedy.
so this was the first like belly laugh that I got out of this episode. So Chef Jack is like telling him, "Hey Chase, you better give up. You're no match for King Gorge." And Chase immediately like jumps on him like angrily and starts shaking him. He's like, "What do you mean? Like we've been through all of this bullshit and you just want me to throw in the towel and give up?" And Chef Jack is like, "I was just kidding."
So immediately we see the comedy angle is that instead of being an inspiring dad, he is the sarcastic dad.
Yeah.
And it works. Like,
Totally,
I haven't even
yeah.
seen all of the show, and I'm like completely on board with this episode. And we get like a vid window, like a fucking vid window with like a chef holding up two giant spatulas. Who's like,
Yeah.
Lord Gorge, the fighting Foodons are rebelling, or something like that. There's a
And
rebellion.
he like screams. He's like, "Ah!"
Oh,
Made me
yeah.
laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like
So
the
there's a
revolution is
rebel.
in full swing, as according to Chef Jack. And here we get the delightful intro. Fighting Foodons.
The revolution is in full swing.
I noticed in the intro there are fighting Foodons that are straight up wearing Power Rangers costumes. It's at around like at like the 120-minute mark or so. Oh, listeners, we're watching this on for free on retrocrush.tv, which was actually pointed out to me by our patron Jared. So thanks, man. Thanks for making it easy for us to find this show, because I had no idea what Retro Crush was. And
Neither did I. And here we are.
here we are. I might even utilize this site again for an upcoming themed month that we have in the works. For
Fighting
Foodons.
Foodons. Here's something incredible. These monsters were once edible. Do 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 do.
Once
It's-
edible.
It's just it's fun.
So actually, that raises a point that I was thinking of while I was watching this earlier. So these things are food. They're like little
Uh-huh.
food dudes.
Yeah.
I feel like defeating them, you could defeat them very easily by just eating them.
Well, you have to defeat them before you eat them. Have you ever tried just eating a wild boar? You don't just eat it. There's a big process in killing it before it turns into ham, right? Right.
Well, see, my experience with wild boars is they crash in stasis pods and emerge as Maximal, very like energetic and friendly Maximals named Razor Beast.
See, my experience with wild boars is 24 of them attack, and you need an AR-15 to mow these fuckers down before they reach and maul your
24
children.
24 or 30 to 50 feral hogs.
Specifically, 30 to 50.
Yeah.
No less, no more.
Take me down to the Paradise City where the hogs are feral and they're 3250.
Oh, won't you please take me home?
It was like that was my favorite tweet involving the whole 30 to 50 feral hogs thing that went viral a couple of years
That's why
back.
you need an AR-15
Yep.
in America.
So you can just open fire in your front lawn where
over the heads of your children.
Yeah. Meme, something that went viral like 2 years ago. Listeners, if you're unfamiliar, look up 30 to 50 feral hogs and just buckle up for some mass hilarity on Twitter. If you're wondering what the fuck I was talking about with a maximal boar and a stasis pod, Razor Beast, Beast Wars character. He popped up in the latest issue of the IDW Beast Wars comic book, which we reviewed on our show Too Much Galavar recently, which is a Patreon exclusive show available at the $5 and up tier.
Yeah, and he was cool. I liked Razor
cool.
Beast.
Yeah, Razor Beast was cool.
He's a Pumbaa, man.
When I was a kid. He is a Pumbaa.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that was kind of the voice when I was playing with my Beast Wars toys. That was the kind of the voice that I tried to give him.
They call me Mr. Pig. Yeah.
Anyway, so back to the fighting Foodons.
Yeah, great intro.
Yeah, great intro. 10 out of 10.
Today's special, Chase in Space.
I liked it a lot more than the intro for a certain other Patreon sponsored show that we covered that is also in an anime type style.
What's that?
Code Lyoko. I hated the theme song to that show.
you did.
I did. I also hated.
This is a contrast to it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is washing the Code Lyoko taste out of my mouth. Once again, apologies to Bemused Horseman. I'm really sorry. I wanted to like that show. I
had watched a couple of, because Bemused Horseman was like, why don't you check out this one and this one and this one? And I watched a couple more. It's on Netflix, so I was like, sure. And yes, they were much better.
Yeah, and he did warn us that was one of the worst episodes. But...
Also, the plot is just better written than the other episodes I watched. So what's happening here in Fighting Foodons is that, so like drag queen ghost from outer space is like, it seems that I have been defeated. My mind control plan has like blah blah blah, and I've been defeated. And then he screams because he's very calm, and he talks like this, and then he breaks character and screams at the main character, and he's like, "No, you're wrong. The world is my oyster." And he disappears because he's a ghost, right?
And I like their reactions. They're like, "What was that about?" And one of them's like, "I don't know, but I think it had something to do with shellfish."
Right.
This show.
And so they run.
I've discovered. I've come to realize recently, like I've gone on record saying this, like I'm not a huge anime fan, but I actually really like Bananas, like comedic anime.
This is
just like really absurd.
Bananas.
Just like really absurd, like over the top, like comedic anime. I actually am realizing that I kind of dig that style of anime.
Yeah, this definitely, it knows what it is, and it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comedy anime, and the jokes actually hit. So however they're translated, there's always some give or take with translations, right? Some jokes don't land or don't make sense, and the English dub is pretty damn funny.
Yeah, the English dub for this is actually pretty good, and like I find most or not most, but I find a lot of anime English dubbing, like either the translation,
Some of it can be meh.
either the translation isn't great or like sometimes the voice acting's pretty subpar, but I think they're both like the English translation is pretty good, and also the English voice acting is pretty good too.
It's decent.
It's decent. It's not great, but it's good enough.
No, I like it. I thought they
Yeah.
did a great job. And what's happening? So they run from whatever palace, and there's a giant statue of, what is it? George the Third,
King Gorge.
Lord Gorge. And this giant statue starts splitting apart, and main character's dad is like, it looks like he has a split personality.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm like,
and Chef Jack,
that's the dad, yeah.
yeah, that the dad, Chef Jack is pulling this like I don't know, it's like a
A food
rickshaw cart. Yeah, like a
Food
food
cart?
cart. Yeah,
Yeah.
or yeah, not a rickshaw cart. Rickshaw is like transports people.
Person.
This is a food cart. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so he starts to fly off into space, and the little panda kid like pops up, and he's like, Gorge is having a blast. Man,
Yeah.
the writing for this show is shockingly good. It's full of puns, right? Like, it's dumb. He's like, wow, like Gorge is having a blast. And like the main character Chase pops up, and he's like, that makes one of us.
It looks like he has a split personality as
Yeah.
the statue splits apart. Yeah,
And
Gorge is having a blast.
Gorge is on. So let me quickly paint a picture for you. There's a giant statue. It splits apart, and the statue looks like Gorge. Then a rocket that also looks like Gorge shoots out of the statue.
Yeah,
And Gorge isn't even in the rocket.
He's
He's
standing
sitting
on
on the
top of it.
shoulder of it.
yeah.
So it's like a Russian doll effect, where there's just a bigger and smaller like Gorge inside. Maybe there's even a smaller one inside the villain, and they'll find that out later. I don't know.
So you mentioned the show is like full of puns and whatnot, and I will say, and I may have talked about this before, but like I love puns, and I legit love like very like womp womp like dad joke type humor. And maybe it's just because like
this is the show for you.
Totally, and maybe it's just because like I'm in my mid 30s now, like I'm almost 37 years old at this point, so that like very like lame like dad joke humor is actually starting to really appeal to me. I'm not even a dad, but like I'm definitely aging into like dad joke territory
When
myself.
I was like a teenager, I stopped liking family movies.
Right.
And
we
into
all
my
went through that
20s,
phase.
and in my 20s, I don't like it. Oh, I don't want to watch these. And into my late 20s and into my 30s, I'm just like, no, like I kind of do like family movies. Like, there's nothing wrong. It doesn't need to be super heavy or dramatic or actiony. Like I just started enjoying it more. And it's those dad ages.
Yeah.
Right. Like you just start enjoying like silly shit, or
Yeah.
like family movies, or dad jokes or puns, or like you've always liked Christmas movies, right? But like, like Santa Claus, man, 16 or whatever year old me and gonna fucking watch that shit. Tim Allen, right? But then
I've been watching the Santa Claus every Christmas for like the past decade now.
Exactly, which is why I was like, well, no, this doesn't count for you. But
yeah.
But then I had watched it like when I was like 29 or something, and I was like, this is just nice, man. Like, this is just nice. It's entertaining.
You know what's I won't hang on this too long, but you know what's funny about that movie? Watching it in recent years, I've come to realize is like, one, Tim Allen's character is an asshole. Like, he's kind of a jerk, but like and the kind of the shitty thing about that movie though is like, he's a jerk. He does everything wrong, but in the end, everything just works out for him.
It's that character arc where he does learn that he does change. It's just
he does, yeah. But
kids' movies are very simple. Bad people kind of get what's coming to them, and then they become good people, and then everything ends okay. And you're right. Yeah, he's kind of just a jerk who doesn't ever learn anything throughout most of the movie until there's that like moment where he's like, wait a second, family's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everything is okay.
Then everything is okay. But you know what's not okay?
King Gorge blasting off into space.
How are they going to get Gorge when he's blasting off into space?
In fact,
the characters kind of talk about it. They're like, well, what the heck do we do? You can't get him. He left the planet.
Chef Jack decides to do something with his food cart. Apparently this food cart... Well, okay. So apparently this food cart like is able...
He dramatically points at it and he says, food cart, do your stuff.
Apparently, like, you can do other things with it. And what he does is he transforms it into a cannon and decides to go all fucking Jules Verne and just shoot himself into space.
Yeah, it transforms.
I don't know if you've read Jules Verne, From the Earth to the Moon, but they, like, literally get to the moon by shooting themselves in cannons.
Hey, it's a legit strat, man.
It seems legit. So Chef Jack decides to do that and shoots himself into the air, and he doesn't go to space. He just ends up falling back down to the ground.
He gets shot up very high.
Yeah.
We hit a commercial break, and when we come back, he just falls back down.
Yeah, he falls back down, and
he leaves like an imprint in the ground.
Yeah, and like someone character like talks to him, and he is like, "Greetings, I am from Earth," or something like that.
So we cut to a different city in ruins with a bunch of Foodons talking to them, and holy shit, is the voice acting for these guys kind of the best.
Which guys, sorry?
So at around like 6.5 minutes, there's like a bowl of
Oh, you're talking about the three robot dudes in
what are their names?
In the giant robot.
In the giant robot. Yeah, there's a giant robot in ruins, right?
Yeah, so there's a giant robot. What are their names? One of them is Spaghetti About It.
Yeah, and he talks like this, see?
Let's go to Wikipedia to figure out what their names are.
Yeah, we're going in, folks.
We're going in.
Yeah, so they turn on some monitors and they view the heroes.
Oh, okay. So Cowboy Rito, Spaghetti About It, and Crab Quake.
Are these three specifically?
Yeah. Crab Quake.
Macho, Scaranera, and wait, what? Oh, Chase says their names here. One sec.
Oh, okay. I think I'm looking at different. I had the wrong characters. Sorry, listeners.
We'll figure it out.
I don't. There are a lot of fucking characters in this show. Holy shit.
There are, which is part of the fun. Guzmacho, Scaranera.
Oh my god. King Gorge's name is King Gorgeous Gorge.
I told you he was a drag queen. That is the best.
He is fabulous.
King Gorgeous Gorge.
King Gorgeous Gorge.
That
Holy
is
Christ.
Phenomenal.
I definitely should have gone to the Wikipedia page before we started recording.
Right, yeah. Well, it's a journey. Okay, one second.
It is
I'm going to listen to Jace say their names really quickly.
All right.
He says,
what's he
Guzmacho.
Guzmacho.
Scaranera.
Nice, I like it.
One second. Gobblebot. Instead of Gobblepot. Right.
Oh my god, dude. I'm on the Wikipedia page. Some of the names. There's a Foodon named Squid Vicious.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm fucking serious. I might actually have to watch more of this goddamn show.
Squid Vicious?
Squid Vicious. Octopoison. Squid Vicious. Pasta Vazuman. Digestor. Noodleator. Applegator. Shishka Beast. Cinnamonkey.
Wow.
Shishka Beast. Squid Vicious. That what I fucking love it. Tank
There's
and
a lot of
Cheese.
characters.
Mouse Special. Shaken Bacon.
Sometimes if you have unlimited like silliness, like you said, when things become so ridiculous that nothing matters anymore, you enter special territory where you can be as zany as you want.
Yep.
And if you just go hard and you're shameless about the comedy, and like this show knows exactly what it is, like I had said previously, you hit that like sweet spot where like once people go, oh, this is like ridiculous, but it's well written and it's funny and it's fast paced and it's Pokemon.
Yeah,
food.
This show is so fucking stupid and I love it, but it's so stupid in a good way.
There's a villain named Rose Marinade. There is.
Forget about it. Crab Quake, Squid Vicious, Shishka Beast. This is
Beast. Amazing.
King Gorgeous Gorge. These names are like 11 out of 10.
That's good job, whoever named these.
Donasaur. Oh, Muscles Marinara.
Muscles Marinara. That was it. Right.
You mentioned earlier Shrimp Daddy. There's one that's just named Jambalaya. Keeping it simple.
Okay. So back in the episode, but sorry, folks, we're discovering that everyone's name is epic.
We are discovering the joy that is the names of characters in this show.
So everybody had run to the city from wherever they were.
One more real quick. Dim something special.
Wow.
Dim something special.
Amazing.
Oh Christ.
The English translators and whoever named them in English is
I hope that
give that man
person,
a raise.
I was gonna say I hope that person was paid well. Oh man. Anyway.
Yeah, so sorry. So everybody runs to the city. Who's Chase's dad?
Chef Jack.
Jack. A lot of he's usually holding most of the other kids.
Yeah.
Like they're just riding on his shoulder and stuff. And they get to these fighting Foodons that are kind of robotic like looking. They came out of the giant mech, and he's like, hey, we need your help. We need a rocket so we can chase after Gorgeous Gorge. And this is, I'm okay with how corny this gets. They're like, a rocket? And a character comes out of like who's been with them the whole time, presumably.
Yep.
And they're like, why, it's Dia, the rocket scientist. So presumably this is a character that's been in almost every episode, right?
The best rocket scientist in the town. She's also the only rocket scientist in town.
And she's like, hi guys, it's good to see you. And Chase is like, wait a second. And she's like, didn't I tell you I'm a rocket scientist? And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that stupid Deus Ex. Like, of course she is.
No, it's this again, this show is stupid in like all the best ways possible, and it's intentionally stupid.
Yeah, we had really missed her. And then one day she just got up and disappeared, see? And we really missed her.
Also,
because she was always so quiet, we didn't even notice she was missing.
Also, and I'm not someone who's normally like thirsty for anime girls, but I kind of like this rocket science. I kind of dig this rocket scientist chick.
Well, any video listeners, anyone's on YouTube checking us out, I may have her in cat version behind me as part of my background.
Yeah, apparently she turns into a cat girl, a literal cat girl at some point named
Even more
Claudia.
reason to like her.
Everybody loves an anime cat girl. Anyway, so apparently Rocket Girl, that's her name to me from now on, Rocket Girl.
She plays a flute at one point. Is this coming up? She plays a flute like the freaking Green Ranger.
Well, like I said in the intro, there are literally like Foodons who are wearing Power Rangers costumes. Like, I need to discover, like, I definitely got to watch more of this show because I'm very curious about that. But speaking of being curious about things, so apparently, like, Rocket Girl has been gone somewhere for, we get the impression she's been gone for a while, but now she's,
Brainwashed by. She worked for King Gorge for a while. I almost said
seem,
Kid George.
yeah, seemingly so, yeah. So they're like, and she's like, oh, it was horrible. I don't know what happened. I don't know where I was, or something like that.
Yeah, she like, oh, she does. She just doesn't remember yet.
And like one of the other characters kind of gives her a side eye when she mentions that she doesn't remember like where she was or what she did.
So she plays the flute, and she summons animals.
Yeah.
She summons a green bear, a green monkey, a two-tailed fox, and a purple bat.
Oh yeah. She's like, apparently I was working for King Gorge, but I really don't remember what I was doing or in what capacity. She's saying, like, with her hands together and like her eyes closed.
Like
and,
a dreamy like sequence,
yeah,
like
like
magical girl kind of reminiscing sequence.
yeah. It's the way she's delivering it sounds very shady, like she's full of shit, like she knew exactly what she was doing. That was
And
the impression that I got.
after she summons the animals, I didn't realize she was on top of the mech. She jumps down, and there's a big like Umbrella Corporation lacy parachute. And I'm like,
Okay.
when was she up there? The show does that a lot. You have no
Okay.
idea where they are or where they're going, and suddenly someone's in a parachute.
Oh, can we talk about the her quartet of animals that she summons, the big four they're called?
The bear, fox, monkey, and bat. Yep.
I love the like very like anime style like quick like fast moving background when they all appear.
With the anime intro of all of
Yeah,
them as
the
they
anime
growl
intro
and
of all of them, and then just repeats it again when she like I think she
puts
like
them in a summoning circle or
yeah,
something.
and then they just repeat the same animation.
There's a lot of repeated animations, right?
And like a lot of the times that's a budgetary thing, but I feel like here it's a joke. Like they're doing it intentionally as a gag.
There's a lot of repeated animations, and like I'm okay with that. It's so hard to tell if it's meta or if they're just filling out the episode, but it doesn't matter either way.
Either way, it cracked me up. This yeah, this whole fucking episode like just cracked me up. Holy shit. I was not expecting to be as entertained by this shit as I was.
So the four animals go into like different panels on the ground,
Right.
and it unlocks a secret entrance to a silo that just happens to be there. And there's a giant rocket inside
that looks like a big eggplant with
looks like a big eggplant with a
happy
like a
face.
slime face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just a simple like smile and googly eyes.
So yeah, this
So
is
King
what does
King
she call
Gorge
it? It's called the
turned
I think it's
her-
called the eggplant rocket.
something like that. Yeah, the King Gorge turned her into Claudia.
Yeah.
That's what had happened at some point, right?
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
But she was acting all innocent, like, oh, but I really don't remember what I was doing or in what capacity I was working for him. The way she delivers it, I feel like she's full of shit, and she was very aware of like everything she did.
What are you gonna do, man? So there's to go ahead a little bit. There's a sequence where they vid window a bunch of people, resistance fighters, I guess,
Yep.
and try to get help from all around the world. Check in with everybody. There's a greater plot going on here, right?
Yeah, I have no idea what any of this is about, but
Yeah. And then suddenly there's a bunch of like lasers from space that come raining down, and they're cards.
oh, the closed captions that I turned on ages ago suddenly just started working halfway
Oh.
through the episode.
Well, dang.
Well, blow me
Um,
down.
So as the cards are descending in beams of light, they transform into Foodons.
Real quick, to talk about very briefly during the series of like Skype calls that they're doing with resistance fighters.
Right.
There is this like duo of people, like one's wearing a turban, like one's this tall person wearing a turban and the other looks like a kid.
Right.
But they're like, "Oh, our home was completely destroyed by King Gorge and blah blah blah." What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do, man?
I just like their reaction.
Yeah, you gotta take the good
and-
with the bad.
And then one of the characters was like, "Well, they're as easygoing as ever."
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted another thing that cracked me up was the like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? So Chase tells everybody that King Gorge is attacking them with Foodons from outer space.
Yep.
And they all change. I can't catch all of their names, but there's like some shrimp ones. There's some that are like spaghetti. They're all kind of like robotic, but also food.
So are you talking about the ones that were sent down to attack?
Yeah, from outer space.
Yeah, from outer space.
Yeah.
So we got the we got what looks like a series of marshmallows with like a plate and pancakes on their head. And they're saying glutton, glutton.
So while this was all happening, I guess Rocket Girl was restoring and polishing and fixing the rocket.
Yeah.
Because she starts to ascend out of the silo on it and it's all like sparkling and working.
Just
So
before that, I want to call out like what all of these foodons are that descend from space. So we got glutton, glutton. Then we got Scroodle, which is like some green dude with a plate with like noodles on its head.
Yeah.
And then we have a crab with a plate of pasta on its head with a couple of clams that is saying seafood pasta, seafood pasta.
Yeah, so some of them don't need to be clever. Sometimes you just seafood pasta.
Yeah, I mean when you got these many creatures that you got to name, like sometimes you just gotta like go with like the simplest name, you know.
Sometimes they're squid vicious, but other times they're seafood pasta. What are you gonna do?
And Chef Jack is like, well, kids, when lemons fall from the sky, you make lemonade.
That's how the saying goes, right?
I don't think that's how the saying goes. One of them says. Yeah, so here comes waifu Rocket Girl coming up, standing on top of the food cart, which is now on top of the eggplant rocket.
And he's like, see, I've converted it to blah, blah, blah. It's modulated to something, blah, blah. And Chase is like, you just tied it to the top. I can see the rope.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know what the fuck is up with this food cart. I also like the fact that like Jack seems to make it out like it's this like grand, like very like versatile, like multi-purpose device, but like he literally just tied it to the top
with rope.
Like it wasn't like fucking like Gurren Lagann, like a head like onto a mech like body
morph back into each other.
Yeah. It's nothing like that. He literally just tied it to the top of the eggplant rocket.
I like it. And Rocket Girl is like upside down being held, but the show's very cute. The boys are cute, the girls are cute, the dad's a dad. It like there's kind of nothing bad to say about this. Her hair is like falling down as she's like explaining it to her.
No, I have no complaints about this show, really.
Yeah, and lasers come. I like that the dad's weapon is a giant chef's knife.
Yep.
And Chase's weapon is a frying pan.
I think when I was doing the roll call of all of the foodons coming down from space, I think I missed the first one, which was Shrimp Daddy.
No, Shrimp Daddy is a good guy we see later.
Oh, is he? Because there's definitely some like prawn looking things here.
That's not Shrimp Daddy. You'll know Shrimp Daddy. I'll point him out. Don't you worry.
Okay. I'm not worried. Trying not to anyway.
So everybody jumps onto the rocket.
Yeah. Okay,
The
and
deadpan
Chef
humor
Jack
of
is
Rocket
like,
Girl is
okay,
hilarious.
okay, Dia, let's launch this Egg Planet Explorer. Oh yeah. The eggplant rocket's called the Egg Planet Explorer because why not?
Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be? Yeah, that's as good as answer as any. And like an alarm, so they try to blast off, and an alarm goes off, and it's like a weight limit alarm that you hear in an elevator.
Yeah. And Rocket Girl informs them that they all can't go on it.
So Chef Jack is like, never fear, I will choose who will go. And like he picks like one of the characters he picks is like, excellent choice, sir, if I do say so myself.
It's basically just Chase and who else?
Uh one of the other kids. I
One
don't
of the
know.
other kids. And then the rocket goes up in space and off it goes. And it starts stalling in the air. Like it's overburdened. And then Rocket Girl's like, oh my, I guess I should have used a calculator instead of doing the math in my head. And I'm like, serious?
What kind of a rocket scientist are you? I think someone even says that.
Yeah, they all yell at her. They all do the anime thing where they come up behind her and they're like, you call yourself a rocket scientist?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Chef Jack also sends like a bunch of meatballs with eyes on them onto the Egg Planet Explorer with Chase and the other kid.
Yeah. So, what's this character's name again? The Gazmacha. He pops up in the mech and he's like, Gazmacho, mind showing me how to operate the mech? And I'm like, yeah, this is the guy to teach.
Oh, the another line that made me like laugh out loud earlier was just before they blast off, the old man who's, according to the captions, name is Oslo. Maybe maybe he's Norwegian. Oslo being the capital in Norway. But yeah, he's like, oh, so you have to stop King George. I almost did it. King Gorge from doing blah blah because if he's able to do blah blah, it will take this battle to a whole new level, and you won't be able to stop him. And Chef Jack is like, how's that for pressure, kids?
All of his lines are great. How's that for pressure, kids? So when he learns how to pilot the mech, he shoots it off in space, and I was going to think that he would grab the eggplant rocket and go into space with them, right? No, he like soccer kicks, like punts the eggplant to help it reach escape velocity.
And when I was watching that, I'm like,
in the mech.
I'm like, and then once it gets up to a certain point, the rocket just starts working. I'm like, that's not how rockets work.
You don't know that.
Fighting Foodons. I mean, I'm not complaining, but yeah, it's oh Christ.
So Gaz Macho is like, wow, I can't believe that worked. And Chef Jack is all like, you seem nervous, Gaz Macho. You should take a few days off after we defeat King Gorge. And I'm like, what is this guy's dialogue?
All right, so they're in space, and Chase decides to summon all of his Foodons by throwing cards out. So
as space Foodons, still in laser form, and cards change and come fight him.
Oh, the other kid is Pie Tin.
Pie Tin, that's it.
2 words, Pie Tin. He's a Pie Tin.
Yeah, he's a Pie Tin.
Yeah.
So there's like they call their cards, and there's like Sir Dumpling.
Blast off, Sir Dumpling.
So there's Shrimp
Dumpling, and they all say their names.
There's Shrimp Daddy.
Yeah. All right, here goes. Fried Ricer, Shrimp Daddy.
And something special?
Dim something special.
Something special.
I was cracking up about that earlier, remember?
So Fried Ricer. Fried Ricer.
Fried Ricer, Shrimp Daddy. Ha! This fucking show, man.
Dim something special is just a Chinese dragon, but his head is a dim sum bowl.
Shrimp Daddy. Ha!
That's Shrimp Daddy.
Daddy.
And when they defeat the other monsters, they turn back into cards,
Right, yeah.
which is kind of reminiscent of
Digimon?
not just Digimon. Did you ever watch Monster Ranchers?
No, but I played so Monster Rancher, I don't know if the anime or manga came first, or I think the anime might have been based on the PlayStation game. But I played Monster Rancher 3 on PlayStation because you could create special monsters by doing disc swap and putting in other PS1 games, or certain audio CDs would create.
No, any CDs, man. You can even.
Well, no. I mean, any CDs would, but like, 'cause I had a guide for this in PlayStation Magazine. There were like, I think like 50 or so like special monsters you could get by using very specific CDs.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I think one of them was Metallica. The Black Album gave you this like rocker looking monster.
Man,
And I think like a Smashing Pumpkin CD like unlocked a certain monster. I can't remember. This was over 2 decades ago now, but
I have like an old list of where I
Oh, okay.
write them down that I've had for decades. I don't
All
have
right.
it on hand with me.
all right,
But,
fuck it. I'm Googling it, because why not?
But I played a lot of Monster Rancher 1 and 2. Never played much beyond that because it got weird for me. I remember 1 was like a circus theme, and you like train them and have to do shows, but like also an adventure. And you used them as a team of like 2 or 3 or something like that, and would fight other 3. I wish I had gotten more into that, but I was an adult at that point and I didn't have time for the Monster Rancher grind. But one thing
Yeah.
that I've always been a fan of was it just reads the code off of CDs, and you get a random ass, not random, like you can put in the same CD, like the same CD will produce the same
Well, no, and
results.
like I was
Yeah.
saying, like certain CDs would
special.
give you special monsters. Yeah, I actually just found a list, and holy shit, it's huge. You could even put 3DO discs in a fucking PlayStation to get special monsters for Monster Rancher.
Wild.
All right, so audio CDs, AC/DC Live, got you Gollum, a couple Celine Dion CDs, couple Iron Maiden CDs, bunch of the Cranberry CDs.
Oh, amazing. I know what all the monsters are. So what are some of the monsters for them?
All right. So the Cranberries, everybody else is doing it, gives you Tiger/Golly.
Okay, so that's one that looks like a wolf, but it would have kind of like a sun mask.
Sepultura Roots gives you Hanger/Zoom.
That must have been something outside of 1 or 2.
This is 2.
Monster Rancher 2.
I'm guessing you didn't have Sepultura Roots when you were younger.
Oh, that's what those. Oh, Hangar. Right. No. Yeah, it was like a Star Wars battle droid. Absolutely, fucking Hangar. Yeah. What was the Zoom? Oh, the Zoom. Right, just the dinosaur one. Right.
Yep, and Queen Greatest Hits 2 gave you Plant.
I liked Plant. It's exactly what you think it is, man.
It's a plant.
It's
The
like
Offspring,
something like a vile plume.
the Offspring Americana gave you Worm.
Oh, right. The ancient dinosaur looking like they kind of looked like a really small version of Tremors. Like it had like beady eyes and then like an evil looking Caterpie.
You could put in other PlayStation games. Parasite Eve would give you Hair.
That was a common one. I wonder what kind of hair. That was a rabbit that was really good at boxing. One of my favorites. It had a really short lifespan, but
Metal
thanks
Gear
for.
Solid. Metal Gear Solid would give you Gabu.
I did know that one. Yeah, because we had that.
Well, of course.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, Gabu was
Resident
just like a slime kind of dude.
Resident Evil 2 would give you Color Pandora.
Now that was one of my favorites. Color Pandora was actually 3 little monsters that formed a caterpillar type creature. And it specialized in having so much health that no matter how much damage you could take, as long as you hit your enemy a few times, you would just tank them. And they got wild. Like they would have kamikaze moves that did a lot of damage to the enemy, but they would hurt themselves. So you would build that monster with having so much HP that like the kamikaze moves barely hurt it, but had a big payoff.
Tomb Raider 2 would give you Mochi.
Mochi is the main kind of monster from the anime that the main character like meets.
Apparently
early.
Silent Hill will also give you Hanger.
Weird. You'd think Silent Hill would give you something other than a robot, but
You would think. You could put in Sega CD games. If you put in
I did not know that.
Jurassic Park, you would get Pixie.
Not gonna lie, some of my first few faps were Pixie.
All right, I'm Googling a picture of this thing.
Uh-oh.
Search the web for Pixie
The Pixie crosses were really interesting.
Monster Rancher. Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the different crosses, right? Because you could cross them all, right? So you can have like main Pixie Zoom, and it will like be a Pixie shape, but it'll have like dinosaurish features, or a hare. There'll be a Pixie, right? But she'll have like rabbit ears and a little tail.
Put in Sega Saturn CDs.
That's wild.
One that I never had a Saturn, so I'm not super familiar with any of them. Let's go with
Thanks for joining us on our journey, listeners of Monster Ranchers.
yeah.
Maybe we'll have to add that to the list one of these days.
Yeah, why not? Shining Force 3 would give you Gel/Golem.
A gel and a golem. Gel. What was that? GEL?
Jell.
Oh, it was another slime one. They were the bulk of the enemies in the anime.
If you put in Night Trap, you got
Night Trap.
Suezo
Suezo.
/Zoom.
Oh, so a dinosaur Suezo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Suezo was the sarcastic. He's the iconic one with he's a yellow thing with like a little tail, no limbs or anything, just like a tail underneath it. And the entirety of its body is a gigantic single eye and a big mouth. And he's on the cover of almost all of the Monster Rancher games. Low HP, really high like damage output. And I think he gained energy extremely quickly.
If you put in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you get Ape/Plant.
Yeah, the ape was kind of like an orangutan
Right.
thing. It would like sit down
assume,
and like
yeah.
throw bananas and yeah.
So Plant Ape.
Yeah.
That actually sounds kind of dope.
Maybe I should stream Monster Rancher.
Well, listeners, if anyone wants to hear that,
let me know.
Let us know. Anyway, let's we got like what 5 minutes left in this
let's get
episode.
back into
Let's get back into it.
I feel like anybody that's here listening to us talk about fighting Foodons would also appreciate Monster Ranchers.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I agree. And I've said this before on at least one of our other million shows that we do. I've never actually gotten any complaints about the weird tangents that we go on. No one's ever complained about it. So
there we go. I guess it also means that not enough people are listening to complain.
That is true. That could be true, yeah. But we haven't gotten a ton of negative feedback so far. A little bit of negative feedback here and there, but
just one about our Facebook ads.
Yeah, and there were a couple of other like comments here and there that I'm just like, oh, well, you know what?
So
Thanks for the feedback. Moving on.
they're in space, right? And the giant statue of King Gorge is just outside of Saturn, it looks like. So oh boy, did they go a long way. Not near the Earth at all. And I wonder why he has a spaceship when he's just like outside of the spaceship. But
nobody is actually
like,
in spaceships in this
but
show.
then I'm like, wait, the kids are just riding on the outside of the rocket and they're fighting in space. Fuck it. There's air in space now.
I was gonna say, so they're
what's funny? The first time I watched this, didn't even register. And I was like, they're fighting in space. They never even thought about why they could breathe. So this is his true form now, because like
they're not they're no Beast Wars Transformers sailing the high seas of space on a space pirate ship.
That's true. How many people can be?
If anyone's wondering what I mean by that, we a while back on our Beast Wars podcast, Too Much Energon, we reviewed the I think it was episode 47 of Too Much Energon. We reviewed the 1998 Japanese anime Beast Wars movie, Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger. That was a fun one.
It was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I couldn't. Much of the movie was
bad.
Knowing,
it was bad, but it was fun to review.
But it was also wild. There's time travel. They summon Optimus Primal. It's wild.
Yeah. They fight
Lio Convoy Jr.
They fight Diamond Weapon from Final Fantasy VII.
Like actually. Yeah. So the drag queen Ghost from outer space is now just a drag queen. They're solid. And they're not a ghost, and they're not from outer space since they're in space now. So he's just King Gorge.
King Gorgeous.
I love the voice actor.
Yeah.
For King Gorge. It looks like you're out of your element, Chase. Like such a soothing, like great villain voice. And what is he? He says some creepy villain shit like, I'm just trying to show the people the only way they could ever know happiness, by submitting to me. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's your game, huh?
He summons some Foodons of his own. And
then something that I wasn't expecting, but I'm not surprised about because the show's wild.
Okay.
His fighting Foodons combine.
Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. And
and they change into a thing that actually surprised me. I was expecting some sort of food dish. It's a dragon.
Oh yeah, that's
a big dragon with a dim sum rotating table around its neck.
Yeah, that's Chase's Foodons that all combine into the dragon.
Yeah. And for some reason, Fried Ricer is the pilot of Festivus. Yep. And he transforms and he has like a battle form where a lobster goes on his head and he gets a cape. Fried Ricer.
Fried Ricer. Shrimp Daddy.
And right away, again, you can't produce this. You can't predict this. Right away, he's like, all right, Fried Ricer, show him who's boss. And immediately,
they get their ass kicked.
Immediately, before they do anything, two other enemy Foodons double punch Festivus, and they just fly off into space.
I laughed so hard about that. I'm like, yeah, okay.
And so Chase goes, no!
So they combine and form this like powerful like dragon thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, now they're going to kick some ass. Oh, nope, they get their ass handed to them immediately.
Multiple, they just kick his ass.
That is like a womp womp moment.
I couldn't even believe that. There wasn't a fight where he lost. It was just immediately got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
This huge buildup. It's like 2 minutes long, and then in 15 seconds, he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
It's not a back and forth. He just gets punched into Saturn.
Yeah.
let's put an end to this nonsense, shall we? And I'm like,
Oh Christ.
I can't. You can't predict this show, and sometimes for some shows that's really bad, but the show does it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like I was like, holy shit, they can combine into a giant dragon, and I guess he sucks.
So yeah, so after Feastivus gets his ass kicked, Gorgeous Gorge shit talks them, and Chase is just like, yeah, well, you may have like powerful Foodons, but I've got the power of the entire world behind me, as they're like rocketing toward him. And I'm like,
okay, Goku.
and I'm like, wait, what does that even mean?
He's got the people, they're all putting their hands up in the air, they're giving him energy for the spirit bomb. Don't worry about it. In like 4 episodes, it'll it'll pay off, as long as he doesn't look up. Sorry, that's a little Dragon Ball Z reference for the listeners. So Fried Ricer and Feastivus are falling into Saturn, and suddenly there's like 3D like CGI graphics to what's it called, render the planet, and it's weird. It's cool, I'm okay with it, but it's weird.
So
what's happening here?
Yeah, let's start
it falls into the planet.
Yeah, and yeah, let's start wrapping this up here. What
the dragon falls into the planet, but then it comes out and it defeats the 2 enemy Foodons. And normally when they're defeated, they're turned into cards, but these cards turn black and burn up and turn into ash, signifying that they can die.
Yeah, so they're toast.
Ha! So King Gorge now reveals, well, it seems that I have lost, except that during the battle, it seems that my dark nebula has gained full power. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what?
and
there's a dark nebula.
Apparently, Chase and Pie Tin like throw like power. I think they call it like power toppings. It's just this like green orb. They throw it at Feastivus, who is falling into the sun.
Right.
And Feastivus falls into the sun. Yeah, that's how they helped him. And it seems like it doesn't work. And they're like, oh no, and Chase is like, oh no, we're too late. But then all of a sudden, a fucking tornado comes out of the sun from where Feastivus was.
Saves Feastivus.
Yeah. And it attacks the 2 Foodons, and this is where they like burn up and die.
Turn into ash. Presumably means that they're actually dead. At least in Monster Ranchers, they turned back into vine-covered discs.
And after the tornado like dissipates, there's Feastivus, and Fried Ricer is standing like holding like his horns, and he just says, "Fried Ricer."
You love the simple the simple yelling of the characters' names.
I don't know. Like I
mean, I do too.
It just cracks me the fuck up. Like I can't even explain it. Shrimp Daddy. Like,
it's because it's ridiculous, but it's a serious scene. And when you combine seriousness and ridiculous, it amplifies the humor.
I've always been
the secret spice of humor, and the show figures it out.
I've always been a fan of absurdist comedy.
And this is it.
This apparently is the show for me. So thanks, Jared, for choosing it.
And he thought he was going to hate it. If anybody remembers, he was like, "Oh my god, what is this? Nightmarish, childish anime."
Well, no one would remember that because I never said that on air. That was my reaction.
I mean, you were excited.
That was my reaction in PMs. I was like, "Oh God, what have we gotten? What have we gotten ourselves into? God help us.
Hath we wrought upon ourselves?"
Yeah, but lo and behold, this is actually a fucking delight.
Just a delight. And so what's happening here? The Dark Nebula is charged, and what that means is his statues on the planet shoot out Ghostbuster-like plasma beams, hitting people and apparently sucking their energy out.
Sure. And there's some shit talking in space between Gorgeous Gorge and Chase, and Gorgeous Gorge is just like, I've prepared something special for you, and now I summon Devouron, and he throws up a card.
Right? I had to go see who Devouron was.
The
The
Foodon
Foodon,
embodiment of all the world's darkness.
and I like how he like Chase is like sweating and he's all like, huh, nobody told me about Devouron. And I'm like, it's okay, man. You can just invent things as you go. nobody's holding up a manual for the rules of this world.
Yeah, Chase is like, Oslo never told me about Devouron. And then it cuts to like a like
black
purple
hole?
like
A void?
It looks like a galaxy.
Nebula, yeah, a galaxy.
Well, it's spinning. Yeah, it looks like a galaxy.
Yeah.
So it's like this purple like galaxy looking like vortex type thing. And then a voice is just like, it says, just who is this Devouron? And I'm like, wait, who is this? And then I quickly realize it's a narrator.
And I'm like,
Tune in next
there's a
time to find out. Yeah, apparently. It's like, tune in next
so.
time to find out. I was half expecting it to say like, same food on time, same food on channel.
Yeah. And that's the penultimate episode of Fighting Foodons.
That is the penultimate episode of Fighting Foodons, episode 25. Overall, what a treat! Oh my god!
What a dish!
What a dish! What a tasty morsel this this show was. I'm saying it. I'm gonna fucking today. I'm gonna go back gonna go to episode 1 and start actually watching this show.
And it's only 26 episodes, and it's so fast paced and funny. Like, I think we could get through it pretty easily.
This is like, I would even do
this was for Christopher.
I would do an entire podcast about this show. Honestly, like this tapped into like the very like simple, like easy to amuse part of my brain. And it was a joy. I really dug it. So thanks again, Jared, for recommending this, because
I didn't know it existed before, but I am glad that I'm aware of its existence now.
Same. Yeah, so that was episode 13 of the LaserComb podcast. This was as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this was a Patreon sponsored show. And once again, if you want to do the same, go to patreon.com/LAZORCOMB, LAZORCOMB. And at the $10 and up tier, you can do just that. Go to Facebook, facebook.com/LAZORCOMB, spelled the same way. It's kind of the central hub for this and all of the various other podcasts we do. We're also on Twitter. I am at LAZORCOMB. Cal, you are on Twitter as well, yes?
At Neo_Cal, KAL.
We will be back next week with a special themed month. And I'm going to make a bit of an announcement here. Going forward, we're going to be kind of following themes each month going forward, at least for the next few months anyway. So next week will be December, will be the beginning of December 2nd or 3rd, can't remember, early December. So for the month of December, we are going to be doing Christmas themed episodes. We're going to be kind of ditching the random episode format a little bit, just so we can focus on Christmas episodes of shows. But there's still going to be some randomness to it, because every single show that we cover next month, Christmas episodes of, are going to be based on Twitter polls. So I put up a poll on Twitter yesterday. I put up 4 choices for cartoons with Christmas episodes, and what ended up winning out was Batman the Animated Series. So we will be back next week with the 2nd episode of Batman the Animated Series, Christmas with the Joker.
Sounds like a treat.
I don't remember the episode, but I would have definitely watched it, because I, back in 1992, watched Batman the Animated Series right from the get-go. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. And that in mind, I think that about does it. I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm NeoCal.
And until next week, thanks for listening. We'll catch you later, and Merry Early Christmas.
Shrimp Daddy.
Shrimp Daddy. Fried ricer. Bye-bye.